Tracey Arklay from the School of Government and International Relations at Griffith University, and I'm joined today by Dr. Liz Van Acker, who's a senior lecturer in the School of Government and International Relations, to talk about the US presidential elections 2016 issues and perspectives. So, Liz, we're going to talk today about gender and how gender is, played out in this presidential election. If Hillary wins, she'll make history by becoming the first woman elected to the US presidency, so that's a big thing. Of course, Australia's already reached that milestone back in 2010 with the election of Julia Gillard. Does Hillary Clinton have anything in common with Julia Gillard?
Yes, I think so. Gillard was accused of playing the gender card, and in her book, My Story, she said that the media admitted she had suffered more pressure as a result of being a woman than any other Prime Minister, but that it had also had no effect on her political position. So there's a contradiction there. So she said, look, gender was not everything, but it wasn't nothing. It didn't explain nothing. It explained some things. What was interesting in her comments was that she thought she was confident that it would be easier for the next women coming through after her. So we have that situation now with Clinton, and I'm not sure that it is easier for her. Just like Gillard, Clinton's faced gendered mockery. People criticise her for her voice, her laugh, her shrillness, her emotions, her clothes, and she's been accused of not having the look. She's not presidential, and that's true, she's not, because we've never had a woman president before in America. So far, it's a male concept. The men have been middle-aged white men, except for Obama, of course. And Clinton has talked about what she calls the sisterhood of my travelling pantsuit. Now, she's called it this is her look. Why? Because her fashion advisors or whoever looks after her has said that's her way of owning a uniform. She's got to think about what she looks like on stage when she's walking. She doesn't want to have a too short a skirt. Yep. She has to have something that's flattering. She's got to travel a lot. She has to inspire confidence, but it also has to give her an edge and power. So they would be looking very carefully at the colours she's wearing, strong block colours, the sleeves, the lines. All of that stuff would be really important for her, whereas men just wear a suit. So she's got even those little minute kind of trivial issues to deal with all the time. So she has to invent her own look or her own image. And at the same time, give that positive message about women. And she's dealing with all these other things. She's dealing with her husband, the Clinton Foundation, her emails, her elitism, the deal she's done with the bank. So there's a lot of stuff to do, not just with her gender. And at the end of the day, I'm not sure that America is willing or ready to vote for a woman. In any case, the idea of the first woman, that idea is gone, because there's so much focus on Trump, on his sexism and his comments, that she's lucky in a way because Trump is his own worst enemy. What he says is so ridiculous and so dire. I think that if she had been running against a more conventional Republican, like Jeb Bush, she would now be in a lot of trouble. She kind of waxes and wanes. She does well. She rises and falls in the polls, depending on what Trump is doing. So in a way, he's the one that's more gendered than her, I think.
Okay, well, you just mentioned, and you hear a lot about the gender card being discussed when people speak of any woman who's thinking of running for high office, whether it be in business or whether it be in politics. Has Clinton used the so-called gender card, do you think, to good effect?
Yes.
Particularly during the presidential debates, which a lot of people tune into to watch.
Yes, I think that gender has become the primary issue of the debates, for better or for worse. The problem for Clinton is that, again, she's drawing on stereotypes, and in a way she can't win. If she would go in for the kill with Trump and be very aggressive, she'd be criticised as being overbearing or hysterical. If she was angry and screamed the way that Trump does, the media would portray her as a scolding mother. And they actually did do that in the debate she had with Obama in the lead up to the 2008 campaign. That the media accused her of being a scolding mother, and it's like being roused on by your mum. So she had that difficulty. Right. But if she lets Trump talk over the top of her and stalk her and all that stuff, she's looking like she's submissive. If she rises above him, the Michelle Obama idea if they're horrible,
if they go low, you go
high. If she did that, she'd appear weak. So it's very difficult. Plus, she's got to deal with the fact that people don't like her for whatever reasons. You know, she's seen as crooked Hillary, and she has that fragile hold on the polls. And it's more that he's calling the shots in terms of what he's doing. Her strategy has changed lately. She's much more low-key, very carefully constructed events. I think she's just hoping that Trump just self-destructs. And she can go, I'm not that guy. Vote for me. The other thing she's doing is saying, vote. Come out and vote. Don't lose your enthusiasm for this election, because if you do, you'll get this crazy woman hater as president. So she's trying to do that, trying to make sure that people don't tune out. I think the person who is actually using the gender card is Trump himself. Now, I'm not sure that he's doing it very successfully, obviously. To bring out women who have accused Bill Clinton of sexual assault and rape and etc., and to say that Hillary enabled him, I'm not sure that that was the best approach. He was basically, and that Clinton herself had attacked these women. I don't think that's the way to go. Holding the wronged wife responsible for her husband's infidelities, why would you do that? Plus, obviously, he's not running for election, it's her. Accusing her of defending a rapist, again, that's a long bow to draw because she was a public defender at the time. There's a legal system in place, and that was her job as a lawyer to defend this person. What is more important, obviously, and that's been really getting a lot of media traction, is the way these women, probably more than 10 now, have come out from different backgrounds at different times, different situations, whether they're in a beauty pageant or on a plane or part of his apprenticeship show, whatever it's called, The Apprentice. Never watched it, I'm sorry. I don't know.
I confess.
But the fact that now those women would look back on that and say there's a greater awareness about sexual harassment, there are more strong laws in place to deal with those things, and those women have gone, hang on a minute, he did those things to me. So they're coming out. I don't think it's a conspiracy. I don't think they're lying. I think those things really did happen. And of course that then really is bad for Trump. But now he's saying it's a media conspiracy and they're all out to get him. But he's the one who's used gender much more than Hillary, I think. He's large in those debates. He's kind of stalking her. Before we started, you were saying that she was told to wear flat shoes so she looks a bit smaller. Those things are really important when you're looking at a debate because the image is so important. But he's bullying, he's blustering, he's domineering. He says, when I'm president, I can do whatever I want. He has no understanding of the role of the separation of powers, no understanding of the Supreme Court or Congress,
no apparent understanding that dictators lock up their opposition,
put them in jail.
You know, I mean,
so that real male-dominant kind of role is where he's coming from, and I think that idea, that image of a stalking man who molests women, who's an insecure bigot and a racist, that's the image he's coming across with, and I suspect that his gender card's backfired.
Right. I hope you're right. I really do, I have to say, showing my bias.
We're academics here. We're neutral.
Look, the media, you raised the media. You know, it seems to me, and he's declining in the polls and things like that, he seems to be playing very much to his own support base at the moment, saying the things he's saying. And I know, because we spoke before about, you know, Frank Kelly's program yesterday, where they had a woman supporter of Trump coming out and actually defending the man. But, you know, what has the role been of the media in this election, Liz? Do you think they've treated the two candidates differently?
They probably started to, and again, I think if it had been any other candidate but Trump, they would be focusing on Clinton in a different way. But because he's so out of control, whatever he says, he just gives them fodder all the time. There is too much attention on him, I think. The media, ironically, have made him, with his help, and he now controls the media agenda. But I think he still thinks he's on reality TV. You know, he's chaotic, he says the most outrageous things, I think he's entertaining folks, sort of thing. He seems to get away with it, but he speaks to those people's fears and frustrations, the ones that you were talking about just before. If you listen to what he says, he uses simple language, simple grammar, simple ideas. He says things like, it's terrible, it's huge, wrong, 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 or it's great, you know, or it's amazing. He says things like, I have a winning temperament. This is a direct quote. I know how to win. I'm very rich. I'm like a really smart person. Something bad is happening. But people can kind of understand at that simple level what that means. Now you flip that idea of treating Clinton. If she had had 3 husbands,
Yes.
5 children,
Yes.
different men, didn't pay federal taxes, had been bankrupt a couple of times, grabbed men by the balls or wanted to pinch them on the arse,
Hadn't paid her workers properly.
yes, all those sorts of things, the media would have crucified her. It would have been slag Hillary's, all that sort of thing. So she has kind of come out of that okay because Trump is so bad. One thing she didn't handle properly was when she was ill, because again, it gives the media ammunition. What's she hiding from us now?
That she's
You know, so there were accusations and speculations that she was going to die. I heard people say she was going to die, or she had a year to live, or she had dementia, or she had had a stroke, or she had Parkinson's disease, or MS. It's just ridiculous sorts of things. She's lucky in a way because now most of the media, apart from Fox News, I suspect, opposes Trump. It's extraordinary. There are papers in the US, like the US Today, that have declared that Trump is unfit for office. Papers like the Arizona have endorsed a Democrat for the first time ever. The Politico has done an analysis and has said that Trump tells one lie every 3 minutes.
Right.
So the media talks in sound bites. So that's what they've created.
Yes.
And what happens is there's no space to talk about the issues or policies in depth. And up to a point, the media doesn't mind that because Trump has boosted the ratings. He's brought in lots of money through advertising, etc. But it's at our expense because we don't know what the policies are. There's so much focus on these sexual harassment cases and him and the stuff he says about the Mexicans and Muslims, etc., that there's no deeper, more careful, considered analysis. And that's the big tragedy.
And I think you can see that in the debates when they're being played out. The man is obviously not on top of his brief, has no understanding of public policy. You know, it's these one word kind of short word slogans that he tends to
I'll
use.
fix it.
Yeah. So okay, there's so many things we could be covering here, but I'm aware that we're running out of time. So one last question, Liz. Do you think Hillary Clinton deserves the feminist label?
I do, but in terms of a very conservative feminist. She's not a radical feminist at all. But in terms of the liberal political institutions that she works within, yes, I think that she is. She's ironically ramped up her appeal to women almost by default because of Trump's sexism. You know, she's criticised Trump for calling women pigs, etc. And his treatment of women is her trump card. Yes. So from that point of view, she can use her feminism very easily without having to really push it too far, and I think that's what she's doing. She does acknowledge things like the cost of the gender wage gap for women and their families and the economy. She talks about the need for paid family leave and raising the minimum wage, affordable childcare. There's this new act called the Paycheck Fairness Act, which would permit workers to sue for discrimination at work. So she's very supportive of those kinds of policies. But when she says those sorts of things, she gets accused of playing the gender card. And this is a quote from her. She says, what I say to that is, if talking about equal pay and paid leave and more opportunities for women and girls is playing the gender card, then deal me in. So she's aware that she needs to promote fairness and equity. And she says that what she says is more important than who's saying it. So she's trying to almost make it gender neutral. Trump can get her, one of the few ways that he can get her is not through any feminist kind of analysis, but questioning her record. Lovey, you've been there for 30 years. What have you done? What have you done to help women? What have you done for people in work or people who've lost their jobs? What have you done for trade? What have you done for the war effort? You know, you're a warmonger, those sorts of things. If I was Clinton or in her camp, I would be advising her to try and really focus on policies. There's one more debate, only one more, folks, that's all, then we're nearly there. Oh, goodness.
Such a long election.
It's bad for us, we're sick of it, aren't we? And we're in Australia, you know, these poor Americans. But I think she should focus on policies, not just for women, but to deal with all those other issues. Now, that's what she should do in the last debate. the mischievous part of me says she should goad him, just that little bit. I know his supporters will say she goaded him into it, but I think he's ready just to flip his head off and explode and just be in her face. And that would be such good media in a bad way, if you know what I mean. So she needs to think carefully about her strategies. But the feminist stuff, it's kind of almost taken a back seat.
Well, thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
That was very interesting. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye for now.
Thank you.